The Persona series for me is something that's very hit or miss. The first entry I played was Persona 5, and I absolutely love it. I already did a review about that if you want to see, links in the description. But afterwards, I then went back and played the first Persona game, Persona, 1. And I was not impressed, honestly. It was very stale gameplay. I wasn't a fan of how the battle mechanics worked. The characters never really enticed me. I was all in all not a big fan. I then went on to skip the second one and play Persona 3. I didn't get very far with it because of kind of the same gripes. Now, although I really loved the characters and I think they stepped up the battle system amazingly, I could not get past the whole Tartarus mechanic and how it never seemed like I was ever making progress or advancing the story whatsoever. And then with Persona 4, I've just never played it. I've never had a chance to. The only way I can play it is with a PS2 or a PSP Vita, and well, I don't own either of them. That being said, Persona Q2 was a game I was really skeptical of buying. Of course I wanted to get it for the Persona 5 elements that were included, but at the same time, it wasn't just that, it was also a tribute to the other two games, so I wasn't quite sure if it would be for me. Especially since my knowledge of the other ones are very slim. Of course I know all of Persona 5, and although I knew some of Persona 3, I knew nothing of Persona 4, and I didn't know if that would obscure the rest of the game for me. But in the end, I did wind up buying Persona Q2, and so far I've played up to Kamoshida, man. Kamoshida. And so far I've played up to Kamoshida. Why is that so hard to say? And so far I've played up to Kamoshida, man. So I do know a little bit about it, but not much. That being said, I hope that I'm still qualified to do this review, and if not, well, here's your ticket to stop watching. But this is what I think of Persona Q2. Starting off, the main thing that you need to know with this game is that it is subbed, but it ain't dubbed. That's right, all the text is in English, however, the voice acting is still in Japanese. It worked out well for Persona 5 having a lot of dialogue when I could listen to the voice actors talk and give their emotion with every line, but here, I'm forced to sit through boring dialogue and read everything. Some of it can be interesting, but sometimes it drags on forever and I just get to the point where I stop reading and start mashing A. The story itself is just kind of eh. All it is that our main hero, Phantom Thieves, get trapped in a movie theater and they need to find their way out. What I just told you takes about 30 minutes to be explained. I don't know why. At the same time, there are these two girls that are in the movie theater. One of them's really shy and the other one's like a mom, maybe? I don't know. So far it hasn't been explained to me, and frankly I don't care, because everything in the world is being over-explained to me currently. I kid you not. By the time it takes you to do the opening cutscene and actually move for the first time, about 30 minutes has passed. That is, if you're actually reading the dialogue and not just mashing through it. But let's actually talk about the gameplay. It's kind of interesting. It plays like the first two Persona games, whereas you move left or right in a confined space, and it has random encounters. The one thing I do like the most about it is the maps on the bottom. The bottom screen is used for creating your own map and making sure that your layout fits to what's actually happening. At the same time, it could have been used to just automatically do it, but I kind of like how you're in charge of doing it on your own, because it feels like this is more of an exploration on your end, and what you put into it is what you get out. Now, let's get to the battle! First of all, the greatest thing about the battle in any Persona game is the music, and that still stands. So far I've heard two tracks, being Invitation to Freedom and Pull the Trigger, and both of them are just bangers. I already have them all downloaded on my phone and I listen to them constantly. I love the music. It's not quite Rivers in the Desert or Last Surprise, but you know what, it's definitely up there. Now the battle system works a little differently. Again, it plays more like the first two Persona games than it does the most recent three. That being, instead of taking your turn and then moving on to the next, you select everyone's turn at once, and then it all plays out, well, like a movie, which can be a little annoying because you don't know what's going to happen. You could have it planned out so that way you could use an all-out attack, however, if someone misses, your plan is a miss. You also don't know who's going to need to be revived, if anyone's going to die, so it's kind of hard that way, and I see why it was all changed for the last 3 Persona games. I still enjoy the battle system though, and I think it was definitely reworked in a good way from the first 2 Persona games. Now granted, I haven't played Persona Q, the first one, so I don't know how that compares, but as far as how it compares to Persona 1, I still think it's improved. However, I would have much rather them keep their simplistic battle style from the later 3 installments. So far, from what I've played of Persona Q2 being, well, the first world, or should I say movie, and a total of 4 hours, most of which being just dialogue, it's a fun game, it really is. The only problem is, sometimes it drags on. Sometimes you're just walking around waiting for something to happen. Sometimes you're just listening to people babble on about the same stuff you already know. It can be excessive, it can be annoying, but if you push through it, there's definitely a gem there. It just may take a little bit to find.